Steve Jobs, the man who brought us the iPhone.
And we are calling it iPhone. Today,
Hindsight, it's easy to explain everything. What I always say, a lot of things that are on the market are an answer to a question nobody raised. And in the beginning it seems the same thing with the iPhone.
an iPod, a phone. Are you getting it?
But what if people on a subconscious level did ask the question and he came up with the answer? Then you get wild success. Let's take a deep dive in his mind and see what kind of advice he has for us.
No, I've actually always found something to be very true, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask.
That's a very young Steve Jobs, and I don't know exactly when this video was produced, but it's probably before the iPhone. I don't know if I'm right. It looks so funny with a beard, etc. Okay, I have to pay attention to what he's saying, so...
Focus! Focus!
Forget what I just said.
I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I always call them up.
That is really true. What I always say in training to participants, it's very complicated to offer help. If I would say to you guys, hey, let me help you. It's like, okay, who are you? But if you ask people, can you please help me? It is very difficult to refuse.
I called up, this will date me, but I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old, and he lived in Palo Alto.
Okay, you're 12 years old. We already know he had a brilliant mind, but probably that started already very young.
His number was still in the phone book, and he answered the phone himself. Did I? Yes?
For those of you who are not familiar with phone books, in the past you had those big books, all the phone numbers were in there, and it was on paper.
He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs, I'm 12 years old, I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering...
I have to be honest here. When I was 12 years old, I was not thinking about these kind of things, to be honest.
Wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett-Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them.
Am I the only one? I don't know what a frequency counter is. Why, as a 12-year-old, would you like to build something like that? That says already something about his mind, right?
I was in heaven. And I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back.
He says something crucial here. I think it's perfectly fine to ask for help. In fact, I would encourage you to do so. Because what I find always interesting is that when we do training, I always say to the participants, if you've got any questions during the sessions, in between the sessions, I have to say, and you want my advice on it, just give me a call and we can set up a Teams call. And honestly, not so many people do that. It always surprises me because if you work together, if you ask for help, you can improve dramatically. So it's good advice. Make sure you do that.
Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act, and you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn. With people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far. It
seems simple advice, and I also think it's simple to put it into practice. But probably what's holding you back is your own belief, where you say, can I really ask this? Is this a good thing to do? And that's probably what he meant by you must be willing to be burned, right? So just ask, and if people say no, okay, at least you've asked. Ask somebody else for help. Very good advice.